Welcome to reading chapter 7, Inference. So we've dealt with inference before using that type of skill, and inference is we've seen it already in vocab and context in chapter 1, where you have to use the clues around to figure out the meaning of the word. And so we'll see here. Again, we're just going to open it up. We're just going to go to our modules and find chapter 7 here and press download and bring it up. So an inference is basically an educated guess. You're drawing a conclusion based upon the evidence and information that's given. Similar to the vocab and context chapter 1, where we had to figure out the meaning of a word based upon the clues that we were given. So inference is the same idea. It's where you're going to be drawing a conclusion based upon what's given to you. So we have here in this illustration, and you'll see here, "You used my good pan as a hammer," she said. And he replies, "Yeah, I couldn't find mine." And she replies, "Here, if you're finished, I'd like to hammer something." And so which inference is more logically based on this information, on the information in this cartoon? A, the man was probably working on a home improvement or repair project. B, the man's deliberately ruined the woman's pan. Well, if we look here, and again, he says that you used my good pan as a hammer. She says that. She asked him that. And he says, "Yeah, I couldn't find mine." So he's obviously looking for a hammer, and he found the thing that he could find most. So if we look at B, that the man deliberately ruined the woman's hand, it's not that at all. Nowhere does it give us the clue that he intentionally and purposely wanted to ruin her pan. It was just he needed to find a hammer, and he couldn't, so he found the next best thing. So the most logical inference is A, the man was probably working on a home improvement or repair project. And that is why we're choosing A. So again, you must only use the clues that you are given to figure out the answer to your question, to draw your conclusion. Okay, so still looking at the same illustration, and we have what is the more logically based on this information, which inference? So we say C here, the woman is upset that the man has used her pan as a hammer. D, the man realizes that the woman is angry at him for using her good pan as a hammer. Well, if we look here, after he says he couldn't find his hammer, she says, "Here, if you're finished, I'd like to hammer something." So implying that she's going to hammer him possibly. So which one is the logical inference? Yes, C. The woman is upset. And that's why she says she's going to hammer something else. Because D, we don't get that idea that he realizes he's upset her. He just said, "Yeah, I couldn't find mine." So the correct answer is C. So it says here, Jim Johnson panicked when he came home from work to find his neighbor's pet rabbit dead and in the jaws of his German shepherd, Fido. Johnson took the filthy, slightly chewed up bunny into his house, washed it with care, and then used a blow dryer to restore its fur as best he could. A short time later, he secretly put the rabbit back into the outdoor cage. The next day, Jim's neighbor stopped him as they were both doing yard work. "Did you hear that Thumper died?" No, stammered Johnson. "We went out a couple of days ago and found him dead. What's really weird, though, is that the day after we buried him, we went outside and discovered that someone had dug him up, given him a bath, styled his hair, and put him back into his cage." So what's the logical inference here? A, Johnson's neighbor had children who took care of the rabbit, or B, Fido had probably dug up the rabbit's grave? Well, when you're working with inference, you have to also figure out based on the clues. Nowhere does it mention anything about the children who took care of the rabbit. Nowhere does it say that. So our logical inference is B. Fido had probably dug up the rabbit's grave. Next one. What's another logical inference based on this? C, the neighbor was convinced that Johnson had dug up the rabbit. D, Jim Johnson assumed his dog had killed the rabbit. Or E, the rabbit had been very sick. Well, first off, again, looking at E, the rabbit had been very sick. Well, we don't know that. Nowhere did he mention that the rabbit was sick. Okay, he just said they found him, and he was the next day, and Thumper had died. They found him dead. So it can't be E, so it's between C and D. And so with that, what's the most logical inference? Well, If we look at C, the neighbor, he doesn't know what's going on. He just finds it so weird. Nowhere is he accusing Johnson digging up the rabbit. So the correct answer here is, yes, D. Jim Johnson. This is why he panicked and styled him, because he thought his dog had killed the rabbit. So, next one. Early one morning, a man was walking alone a sandy, deserted beach. At least he thought it was deserted. As he gazed ahead of him, he noticed that there was another human figure in sight. It was a boy who kept bending down, picking up something and throwing it into the sea. He repeated the movement again and again and again. As the man drew near, he saw that the sand surrounding the boy was covered with starfish that had been washed in by the waves. It was the stranded starfish that the boy was throwing into the water. Why are you doing that? The man asked. Not pausing, the boy replied, the tide is going out and the sun is rising. Soon the heat will be too much for the starfish and they will die. The man shook his head tolerantly. My dear boy, he said, there are miles of beach and hundreds, maybe thousands of starfish. You can't save them all. What are you doing? What you're doing can't make a difference. The boy listened politely, then picked up the next starfish and threw it in the water. It makes a difference for this one, he answered. So, what is the logical inference here? And correct answer? Well, the gentleman doesn't really he doesn't really give an indication that the boy's efforts are admirable. Rather, he sees it almost like hopeless. But the boy's reply gives us an indication that the correct answer here is A. He knows he cannot save them all, but it makes a difference for this one as he throws it back in. Next logical inference. The man decides to help save some of the stranded starfish, or the boy believes that a little help is better than nothing. Well, he doesn't really help the boy. He just actually talks to him and just tells him, what are you doing? And asks him. And so the correct answer is, yes, D. The boy believes that a little help is better than nothing. So again, it's just using some background information, maybe your own experiences, but look at only the information that they give you. Don't look beyond it and don't try to reach at something. Just look at the clues that you were given. Okay? So again, as we have here, okay, we even have in poetry that there are implied meanings. Okay, and we have figures of speech and so on. So again, you're just going to read and you will draw conclusions based upon the information that you are given. So this is going to bring us an end to chapter 7. Make sure to not only go over your notes, but make sure you're doing your practice questions for chapter 7, your practice exercises. All right, until next time, please keep an eye out for chapter 8 coming up shortly. Thank you.